Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at some of the best monitors for gaming in 2023. Now the focus in this video is going to be on 1440p and 4K monitors, so it's going to be suitable for people who've just built a PC and want to get a new monitor which is of high quality for gaming, or people who want to upgrade their existing monitor. But we are also going to be taking a look at some 1080p monitors right at the end. Now, quite recently, AMD came out with a promo for a game called The Lies of P, and this game is playing at 8K. It looks spectacular, but in reality, most of us are not doing 8K gaming, and I think these sorts of promos probably are about 30% marketing and 70% wishful thinking. So most of us have got a fairly limited amount of space on the monitor. 8K is probably going to be coming in a couple of years or maybe 4 years. Right now, we're going to take a look at features that are not 8K, but which are very useful even now. We're going to start off with the Gigabyte M28U. This is a 4K display. It runs at 144 Hz, and one of the things that really stands out about this is the connectivity. It's got tons of HDMI, 2 HDMI, 1 DisplayPort, USB Type-C, which is always very cool to see on a modern display, and it has USB 3.0. Now, all of that USB connectivity is used for a bunch of features that are really unique. One of the features is the OSD, the on-screen display sidekick. It uses USB to allow you to use a mouse and a keyboard to control the monitor. Another feature which is really cool is the black equalizer. What this does is uses the HDR features of the monitor to brighten up the dark areas and to keep the light areas of the display the same color, whilst the parts of the display that need to be lighted up, if you want that to be a little bit brighter. Another feature which gamers will like is the ability to see a dashboard display using the monitor and its USB connectivity. So that allows you to see the statistics for the game regardless of whether the game actually allows you to do that using the PC itself. Now, this is an IPS panel running at 144 Hz. And that's going to be useful if you have a high-end graphics card. This is not going to be that much useful for you if you have a, entry-level graphics card. It's an 8-bit panel, which quite strangely has got a 94% coverage of DCI-P3. Usually, you see that with 10-bit panels, and there's actually a 10-bit version of this panel. It's actually a 32-inch. This one is 28 inches wide. Another use case for all that USB connectivity is the ability to display your laptop, your tablet, and also your mobile phone on the display. So that USB Type-C is being used to connect these devices to the monitor. And it also has a KVM function which allows you to control other devices using a keyboard. And I believe it is actually the very first, this is the KVM switch. I believe it is actually the very first monitor to have a KVM switch for controlling keyboard and mouse. Now, the display will set you back $529 currently. That's on Amazon, and it is really good value. We had a 144 Hz monitor a couple of years ago that cost $2,300 when it first came out, $2,500, and that was the very first 4K monitor that was able to do 120 Hz. Now, this one coming in at $529 is affordable for a monitor of this capability, and I don't know what you guys think, but I personally think that a 28-inch monitor for gaming is better than the 32-inch monitor. However, if you want to go for the 32-inch one, it's currently $699, and this one has got the same characteristics as the other one. a very fast response rate, 1 millisecond motion. Motion picture response time. So that is pretty fast, and the 32-inch version comes with a 10-bit panel. It covers 90% of the DCI-P3 color base, and these guys are fairly recent. They both cover HDMI 2.1 and DisplayPort 1.4. Now I'm going to have links to these monitors in the description, and I'll also have links to something else you might find useful, perhaps some arms, some Vesa mounts, and some cables that will allow you to unlock all of that frame rate. Now the next monitor we're going to look at is the Dell curved gaming monitor, 27-inch display, the S2722DGM. This came out in 2021. It is a really nice monitor with a fairly decent curve and reasonably decent ergonomics. At $249, it's pretty decent value. The connectivity is limited to 2 HDMI and 1 DisplayPort and audio out. It has got a very decent display, which, as you can see, has got very thin bezels. And that is a characteristic of Dell. They tend to have fairly thin bezels. So if you want to make your monitor an extra wide one, there are features within AMD and NVIDIA software that allow you to connect 2 monitors and to get them to act like one giant display, so you can get extra depth of field and really get extra immersion inside of the game. The thin bezels will allow you to do that, and I think at a 27 inches, I think it's a little bit easier to do that with a display than if you're using something which is 32 inches. Now this has 165 Hertz refresh rate. And usually what you want to do to get that refresh rate, you want to favor DisplayPort, but you do need to have the very best HDMI and DisplayPort cable to get the speeds that are advertised. Now this display is $249 in the United States. It is $199 currently in the United Kingdom. Very good value. I refer to these monitors as being unicorn monitors. They're very good value, but they don't stay around for very long. So if you want to get these ones, I would recommend jumping in before the prices change or the monitors become end of line. Now there is a very similar monitor called the S2721DGFA. This is obviously a 27-inch monitor. Once again, 1440p, 165 Hertz. It's a Dell monitor and it looks very similar to the previous monitor that we were looking at. However, it is a flat screen and it has a much better panel. The other one we looked at, the curved one, has a VA panel. This one has an LG IPS panel. It has better colors than the other one. It covers a wider color gamut than the other monitor, and overall it is a much better monitor in terms of its feature set. The guy has got an HDR 400 rating, so all in all a somewhat improved monitor compared to the curves display. But with this one, it's $259 for the flat screen one, which is the one I would go for if I could find it. It's currently not in stock, but it's usually in stock in the UK at $259.99. I don't find this available on Amazon US at all. However, if you're in the UK, this is a pretty good pick. And for those in the United States who want something similar in quality to the one that we're seeing for the UK, the Dell monitor, there is a Dell gaming monitor called the G32 23D. This one came out in either 2021 or 2022. It's a $350 monitor and it's a 32-inch display. I tend not to favor 32 inches, particularly at 1440p, because it does get a bit soft. The resolution is a little bit soft at 32 inches, and these 32-inch monitors, they can be a little bit bulky. They can be a little bit difficult to handle, and if you prefer a 32-inch very high quality display, this guy here comes in with a display which is better quality than the one that we were just looking at. It's an IPS 10-bit display, covers 95% of the DCI-P color space, and this one has one superpower. It has the USB Type-C connection. Typically when you get to the premium monitors, you are finding USB Type-C. That's one of the things I like to look for in an up-to-date premium gaming monitor. The next monitor we take a look at now is the Philips 279 M1RV. Philips have got crazy naming conventions for their monitors. They have some of the best monitors out there in my view. They also offer a 4-year advanced replacement warranty, which means you basically get it replaced before you have to send it back. It's really convenient if the monitor begins to fail within that 4-year period. That is only in the United States. It's a premium monitor. It's $730 and it's 27 inches. I do prefer 27 inches. There is a 32-inch one that comes in at $899, and there's a much larger one as well, 55 inches. Now, Philips, in my view, makes some of the best quality monitors pretty much at every price point. And with this bad boy, it has just got quality written all over it. It is got insane amounts of connectivity. It's got 3 HDMI, 1 Displayport. It has got the tiny little, the most important one there, the USB Type-C, and then they've had to color code the old USB connections there. So USB Type-C does appear on premium monitors. It does seem to be something that you really want if you have a premium monitor nowadays. Now, the specs for this monitor are insane. It has a nano IPS display, which is capable of covering the whole of the sRGB spectrum, the whole of the Adobe RGB spectrum, and almost all of DCI-P3, 98% of DCI-P3. So it's insane. It's almost as good as the QLED monitors that some manufacturers prefer. In terms of its responsiveness, it has a 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, and it's capable of 120 Hertz over USB Type-C, and is capable of giving 120 Hertz also for the Xbox Series X, which it's basically designed for. You've got DisplayPort 1.4, HDMI 2.1, so it's incredibly feature rich, and it's very difficult to point out any negatives. It has DTS surround sound, but I'm going to try to mention a couple of things which might be a bit of a drawback. FreeSync, which is supported by the vast majority of the monitors that we're looking at. FreeSync is not supported with this guy here. It doesn't have FreeSync or premium FreeSync. It is NVIDIA G-Sync compatible. That means it hasn't got the NVIDIA G-Sync chip, but it has been tested and certified for NVIDIA QuickSync. Now, one possible negative has to do with the size of the panel. It's a premium product. It's very heavy. I think it's 27 pounds inside the box. Outside the box, it's still 18 pounds. It's about 8 kilos. And once the stand itself is 3 kilos, so you take off the stand, it's now 5 kilos, and that is pretty easy to work with if you want to Vesa mount it. All of the monitors we're looking at are Vesa mountable. Now, once you remove the stand, it's very easy to operate it on a Vesa mount, but before that, you have got the stand, which is very large, 30 centimeters from front to back. And you have to, because of the way it's designed, you have to look, they haven't got enough space here for a keyboard. So even in their marketing, they haven't got enough space for a keyboard. You have to have a wider desk than this guy here, because otherwise you won't be able to fit your keyboard and mouse there. It's just the way that the thing is designed. It comes up all the way to where your mouse would be, your mouse and keyboard would be. I can't think of any other negatives with this guy. The price, obviously that reflects the premium nature. The 55-inch one goes up to $1,599. It has got DTS surround sound, as I mentioned before, 144 Hertz. And another arguably premium monitor is the HP Omen 27C. This is a 1440, 240 Hertz monitor with 1 millisecond response time. It is one of HP's curved monitors. So it has a curvature of 1000 R, and it's very nicely illustrated on this diagram here. So it's one of the more curved monitors. And it has also got a very, very thin bezel, and it comes with FreeSync Premium, FreeSync Display HDR 400. I forgot to mention with the Philips one we were looking at, it is HDR 600. That's 450 nits of brightness. So another really standout feature of the HP Omen 27C, both in the United Kingdom, £450 or $450. It's actually like that with most of the monitors we're looking at. They're exactly the same in pounds as in dollars. Now with this guy, it has a really interesting design. So you've got this square box behind the monitor, and you've got the curvature as well. It's a pretty interesting way of putting things together. It has got USB Type-C, which again is something you're finding nowadays quite a lot on the premium monitors, and HDMI 2.0, Displayport 1.4. Pretty decent in terms of its design, in terms of its performance. 240 Hertz. This is the fastest monitor that we've looked at. At 1440p, you're going to want to have a fast CPU. You're going to want to have a fast GPU as well. Otherwise, you won't be able to make full use of that frequency. It has got a reasonable connectivity with a USB 3 as well as USB Type-C. So a pretty decent panel as well, fairly rich colors. It's an 8-bit panel, VA panel, and it covers all of the sRGB color range, more than 95% of the DCI-P3 color space. We'll finish off with a couple of 1080p monitors. This Acer Nitro ED240Q is a 1080p monitor, VA 1500 radius, and this guy comes with 1 millisecond response time. They're calling it zero frame. They all do that. Pretty decent amount of curvature on the monitor. And what you'll find as well with this guy here, at $120 currently, it ships in 1 to 2 months, which basically means you have to put in your order as soon as possible. And at some stage, once I think they've got enough orders, they will start shipping it. But if you don't put in your order as soon as possible, guarantee the price is almost definitely going to go up within the next few weeks. So currently very affordable, but even at the normal price of about $159, a pretty decent monitor from Acer. You can get a couple of these and put them together for a pretty decent gaming rig, maybe get 3 of them for a decent gaming rig. Now in the UK, that one is not available, so the closest equivalent is the Iyama G Master G2470 HSU. This one is £130, and again there's that time delay before you get it, a couple of months, but usually they ship out within a few weeks, like 1 to 3 weeks. Again, 165 Hertz, 0.8 milliseconds response time, FreeSync Premium. You can't go wrong with those sorts of specs at £130.